After Solomon builds the temple, Solomon's heart turns away from God. What could ever take Solomon's heart away from God? In order to secure peace on his borders, he would marry the princesses of other countries. By having another king's daughter, it kind of ensured that I'm not going to hurt you and you're not going to hurt me. Well, these other foreign wives, where are they from? These other nations that have turned away from God. And so when Solomon loves women who don't love God, did you catch that? I intimately love those who do not love my God. It turns his heart away. He actually builds shrines for the gods of his wives. Solomon. And because of that, he is going to lose the kingdom. Oh, but wait a minute. Look at the promise to David. He's going to lose the kingdom? What did God promise David? Your throne shall be established forever. Turn to 1 Kings chapter 11, 29. Solomon had levied quite a lot of taxes from those northern tribes. After a while, they were really tired of paying all the money and having David's family get all the benefits. And the man that was in charge of the labor force at that time was named Jeroboam. Jeroboam was going out of Jerusalem, and Ahijah the prophet of Shiloh, that's where the tabernacle used to have been, met him on the way wearing a new cloak, and the two of them were alone out in the country. And then Ahijah took hold of the new cloak he was wearing and tore it into how many pieces? 12. Now you know what those 12 pieces are. And he says to Jeroboam, take how many? 10. Okay, so you have to figure out which 10 he's going to take. And by the way, what tribe do you think Jeroboam's from? Just take a guess. If you had to guess which tribe Jeroboam is from, he is about to take 10 of the tribes to follow him. He is from Ephraim. The kingdom is going to be ripped away from David's family, from Solomon, because his heart turned away. But where it is going to rip is along the natural fault line. Nobody is going to be surprised by who goes with Jeroboam. This is not going to shock the country greatly that these 10 tribes are going to follow Jeroboam. This is old history, that there's this rivalry between the two. There's this dispute. They ask Solomon's son to basically stop their taxes, and he doesn't. Jeroboam from Ephraim, in charge of the labor force, says, why do we need David ruling over us? To your tents, O Israel, meaning let's go home. We can do this ourselves. And they go up north. Now, the prophet has already told Jeroboam that he gets 10 tribes. You should have one tribe left over. Okay, you know it's not Judah. You know he's not going to get Judah because that's David's family down there in Judah. So put all the other tribes into the Joseph envelope because Jeroboam's going to get them in his country, except for which one? Which one sides with Judah? Benjamin. Do you know why it makes sense that Benjamin would now side with Judah? What's in the territory of Benjamin? What city? The capital city of the country is now in that territory of Benjamin. So the little tribe of Benjamin sides with Judah. So put little Benjamin in with Judah, and the rest of the tribes go with Jeroboam. And God has been very honest with Jeroboam. He says, Jeroboam, if you love and follow me, I'll give you an enduring household as well, just like I promised David, if you love and follow me. What we have here now, we have 2 kingdoms. So we've come from 12 tribes, and we had one kingdom, Saul, David, and Solomon, and now it has torn. And we have 2 different kingdoms, and we have the northern 10 tribes. And guess what they call themselves? They call themselves Israel. And who's left down in the south? The tribe of Judah and little Benjamin that's kind of just molded into the territory. Remember when God told Abraham, I'm going to plant you in the land, and your seed, through your seed, all the nations will be blessed. What we have in this kingdom is planted. It's planted in David's family, and now Jeroboam takes those 10 northern tribes. This kingdom is planted. And then Jeroboam starts thinking. And this is dangerous thinking because it's very fearful. I want you to turn to 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 26. Jeroboam thought to himself. The kingdom will now likely revert to the house of David if these people go up to offer sacrifices. Where? I mean, he just let his fear consume his imagination, and look what he does. It doesn't stop in his mind. They will again give their allegiance to their lord Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they will kill me and return to King Rehoboam. After seeking advice, the king made 2 golden calves. He said to the people, "It's too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Here are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt." And he set one in Bethel, and the other one he set in Dan. Now Bethel, it sits just on the north side of the territory of Benjamin. So any person from one of those 10 tribes that traveled down could just stop right at the border and stay inside the territory of what is now the nation of Israel, and they could just worship their gods right there. Wait a minute, Jeroboam, isn't this idolatry? This is defiance. This is rebellion. Watch. All 10 of those tribes overnight get a different religious system because their leadership flips it to golden calf worship. And he says, these are the gods who brought us out of Egypt. In other words, he's tying it to their history, but he is redefining God. Do you see it? He's using an idol, but tying it in, and he's kind of calling it the same thing, but it's not the same thing at all. And then he does something else. He says, you need priests at altars. Who's only allowed to be the priest? From the tribe of Levi, Aaron's family. Aaron's family has been in our envelope with Joseph. I want you to move that to Judah, because when the temple is made, the priesthood moves to Jerusalem. Your Levites should be scattered, but your Levi envelope now goes to Judah because it's at the temple. Are you with me? So Judah has the religious power and the king from David. They have the temple and David's kingly line. And what does Israel have? The rest of the nation has a king who has defiantly taken the whole country into rebellion against God, has chosen a worship system that is false. And then he says, we don't need Aaron's family to be priests. Anyone from any of the tribes can be a priest. Where did he get that idea? God was so clear on the instructions. And what is Jeroboam? Where is he putting himself? It doesn't matter what God has said. I am the king, and what I say goes. He appoints priests from any of the tribes. And then he's still thinking of that holiday. They're going to go down at the holidays. I know, we'll have our own holidays. Oh, we just had our celebration. When are you celebrating? Oh, we all just have our own religious holidays, don't we? It's like the whole nation has just been hijacked into rebellion against God. Remember those Levites that had been scattered that were supposed to teach the laws of God? Do you think Jeroboam wants them? What are they going to do? They go down to Judah. They move. Can you blame them for wanting to leave a country that has so quickly deserted the true God? I mean, we're talking, this just all happened just so quickly, where everything was on track, and Jeroboam totally takes them off track. So if you have any Levites, go put them into the Judah envelope. Now, I want you just to look at the Joseph envelope. This country, these 10 tribes to the north that are now in rebellion, they have nothing. And yet they are still from which envelope? They're out of whose family? These are supposed to be the people of God. Their leaders are taking them away from their leaders, both their political leader and now their spiritual leader. Do you realize their grandchildren are going to grow up thinking that the golden calf is how you're supposed to worship God? Who's going to tell them? If the Levites have gone down into Judah, who's going to tell these kids and the grandkids? This is false. 19 kings from all different tribes reign over this northern kingdom, and not one of them gets rid of those golden calves. Not one. And what is God's response to that? What had he said? Jeroboam, if you don't follow me, I'm just going to sweep your house out. I'm going to get rid of you. And the country gets worse because a few kings later, one of their kings is Ahab. Those are the only two kings I want you to remember from this envelope right here, this Joseph envelope. I just want you to remember Jeroboam and what he did to derail the whole country. And then Ahab furthers it because he brings in Baal worship. He's not even pretending this is worshiping God. It is complete pagan Baal worship. And you have all the people that are just swept along in the error. And you know what? God wants them back. I want you just to look real quickly at the Noah envelope. Everyone had the same what? Do you see that everyone in this nation also had the same knowledge? They all had the commands of God. We're talking the people of God from Abraham. They all have the same knowledge that there's one creator God, and turning from him is a destructive path with serious consequences. This is really serious for this nation because they are saying we're God's people and they have been totally swept away into pagan worship. If they could just see who God is, maybe they would turn back. Before judgment, God sends warning. Why?